The measuring spoons clatter against the metal bowl, a sharp, jarring sound that echoes through my tiny bakery kitchen. My hands tremble, betraying me as I scoop flour into the mix. 6 wedding cakes I've done, hundreds of birthday tears and cupcakes before that. But this one's different. This one's for him. Lucas Reed. The man who looked me in the eye 4 years ago and said I'd never amount to anything more than small-town trash. The batter thickens under my whisk, the scent of vanilla rising sharp and bitter, like a memory I can't shake. Elawin, you need to call them and cancel. Harper's voice cuts through the haze of my spiraling thoughts. She leans against my industrial counter, arms crossed, her dark hair pulled back tight like she's ready to fight someone, probably me. Her paralegal blazer's still crisp from the law firm, but her eyes are soft with worry. I can't. I slam the whisk harder than necessary, flour puffing up in a white cloud that dusts my apron. This contract could put sweet endings on the map, Harper. Do you know how many rich clients go to these society weddings? Screw rich clients. She grabs my wrist, forcing me to stop. Her grip's firm, grounding. We're talking about Lucas, the same Lucas who dumped me because I wasn't ambitious enough for his big city dreams. I yank my hand free, the sting of her touch nothing compared to the burn in my chest. Trust me, I remember. The timer dings, shrill and insistent, and I turn away from her, grateful for the distraction. I slide the oven mitt over my hand, worn, patched from years of use, and pull out a tray. The vanilla sponge gleams golden, perfect edges rising just right. The familiar scent of butter and sugar usually wraps around me like a warm blanket, calming the storm in my head. Not today. Today it drags me back to that last night with Lucas, when I baked him his favorite oatmeal cookies, the kitchen glowing soft under the old bulb, my laughter still hanging in the air as he packed his bags. A baker, Elowin? You're better than that. Then he was gone, leaving crumbs and a cracked heart behind. Harper steps closer, her boots clicking on the tile. At least let me come with you to the venue tomorrow. You shouldn't face them alone. Them? I raise an eyebrow, setting the cake layer on the cooling rack. The heat from the tray seeps through the mitt, grounding me. Lucas? His stuck-up friends? His picture-perfect fiancé. She counts them off on her fingers, her voice sharp. What's her name again? Abigail? It hits like a punch, that name. Abigail Grayson. Old money, perfect smile. Everything I'm not, according to him. I've seen her face plastered across the local society pages. Blonde waves, designer dresses, a life I could never touch. Until now. The sun dips low, casting long shadows across sweet endings as Harper finally heads home. She makes me promise to call if tomorrow goes sideways, her silhouette fading down the quiet street. Alone at last, I sink onto the stool behind the counter, the bakery silent, except for the hum of the fridge. My phone buzzes, a text from Lucas's wedding planner, Lauren Hayes. Venue visit confirmed. Grayson Estate, 9 a.m. My fingers tighten around the device. The screens glow harsh against the dim room. I pull out the wedding brief from the stack of papers on the counter, the crisp pages rustling under my touch. 6 tiers of white chocolate and raspberry, decorated with hand-painted sugar flowers. Classic, elegant, probably worth more than my first car. My thumb traces the specifications, the ink smudging slightly from the sweat on my skin. Lucas used to mock this dream, back when we'd sit on my old couch, flour still on my hands from a late shift. A baker? He'd laughed, his voice smooth as the expensive whiskey he'd started drinking. Come on, Elowin, you're better than that. Come to the city with me, I'll get you a real job. The memory doesn't sting like it used to. It sparks something else now. Something hot and steady in my gut. Determination. This isn't just a job, it's a chance to shove his words back down his throat, frosted and perfect. I grab my phone and dial Mia Carter, my sugar flour wizard. She picks up on the second ring, her voice bright despite the late hour. Hey Mia, it's me. I know it's late, but I need a favor. I pause, the words tumbling out fast. You know those sugar flowers you're so amazing at? Think you could help me create something spectacular tomorrow? I want to show these people what small town trash can really do. Her laugh crackles through the line, warm and eager. Oh, I'm in. Let's make them eat their words. Literally. I smile for the first time all day, locking eyes with my reflection in the bakery window. The streetlights flicker on outside, bathing the sign, sweet endings, in a soft glow. Tomorrow, I'll walk into that venue with my head high. Let them whisper, let them judge. I've got nothing to prove to Lucas or his fancy friends anymore, just everything to prove to myself. The Grayson estate looms ahead, all marble columns and manicured lawns, a world away from my beat-up Honda rattling up the drive. I grip my portfolio tighter, the leather creaking under my fingers, and force myself to breathe as I park among a sea of gleaming luxury cars. The air smells of money, crisp and cold, like the champagne flutes glinting in the morning sun. Well, if it isn't the little baker girl. Ethan Brooks's voice drips with condescension as I step out, his lean frame lounging near the entrance with Lucas's other cronies. He's got a flute in hand, his smirk sharp enough to cut. I straighten my blazer. Harper insisted I dress rich people fancy, and meet his gaze. Good morning, Ethan. Still day drinking at 10 a.m. I see. Some things never change. My voice is steady, sharper than I feel, and a few of his buddies poorly hide their snickers. His smile tightens, but before he can fire back, Lauren Hayes clicks down the steps in sky-high heels. Allowin', thank goodness you're here. She grabs my arm, steering me away. We need to discuss cake placement, now. Don't mind them, darling. They're just here for the pre-wedding brunch. Inside, the mansion buzzes. Staff, darting with flowers. Fabric swatches turning the opulent space into something even grander. Lauren gestures to an elaborate display area. The cake goes here. We're thinking a spotlight effect to make it pop. Perfect. I open my portfolio, showing her sketches Mia and I hashed out last night. I was thinking cascading sugar flowers, hand-painted. Flowers should be roses, Lucas. I don't care what your mother says about lilies. My heart stops dead. That voice. I turn, and there he is, Lucas Reed, arm in arm with Abigail Grayson, the perfect society couple. He's the same, maybe more polished, hairstyled just so, but still devastatingly handsome. Until he sees me. Allowin'? His surprise morphs into that familiar smirk, the one that used to unravel me. I didn't think you'd actually come. I'm professional enough to separate business from pleasure, I say, voice cool as I take my portfolio back from Lauren's hands. Or lack thereof. Abigail's eyes dart between us, her perfect smile unwavering. But there's a flicker, something like recognition, or maybe understanding. Before I can pin it down, Ethan saunters in, and I brace myself for whatever comes next. 2 weeks before the wedding, I'm back at the Grayson estate, the dining room sprawling before me like a gilded cage. My hands move with practiced ease, arranging cake samples on delicate china plates, lemon zest curls, vanilla sponge soft as a whisper, raspberry bleeding red through white chocolate. Each one's a testament to years of honing my craft, a quiet rebellion against Lucas's old sneers. The air hums with the tang of citrus and sugar, but my pulse hammers louder, knowing he's somewhere in this maze of marble. Still playing with sugar and flour, I see. Lucas's voice slithers in, his cologne, that same expensive cedarwood, flooding the empty room before I even turn. He's closer now, leaning against the polished table, examining my display with that half smirk I used to love. Now it just grates. I always thought you'd grow out of this phase, Elowen. Come to your senses. You mean become the trophy wife you wanted? I face him, wiping my hands on my apron, the fabric rough against my skin. Sorry to disappoint. My voice stays steady, but my fingers itch to fling a cake slice at his pristine suit. Some of us enjoy our work, though I guess that's hard to grasp, when you're just coasting on Daddy's hedge fund. He runs a hand through his perfectly styled hair, eyes narrowing. You know, I wanted more for you. This town, this life. It's so small. Small? I gesture to the samples, the china clinking faintly as I move. The governor's daughter didn't think so. Neither did the mayor's son or that tech billionaire who flew me to California last month. His jaw tightens, a flicker of something, jealousy, crossing his face. Since when do you travel for work? Have high-profile clients? Sorry, I forgot to update you after you dumped me. The sarcasm drips, but before he can snap back, the door swings open. Lauren bustles in, clipboard in hand, her heels clicking like a metronome. Everything ready? The family's here in 5. Then Abigail steps in behind her, cream suit impeccable, her eyes locking onto mine with an intensity that stops me cold. Jackson, darling, she says, not breaking our gaze. Your mother's on the phone. Something about seating. He hesitates, glancing between us, then stalks out. The moment he's gone, Abigail's perfect posture slumps, just a fraction. Lauren's halfway out the door when Abigail adds, "Could you give us a moment?" Alone, she approaches the display, picking up a fork. "You made these yourself?" Her voice is quiet, deliberate. Every layer. I watch her wary. Is there a problem? No. She samples the lemon cake, her movements precise. They're excellent, just like the ones you used to make for the homeless shelter on 5th Street. My hand freezes mid-arrangement, the spatula slipping slightly. The coffee shop Abigail chose sits on the edge of town, its cracked parking lot and faded sign a stark contrast to her designer blouse. I slide into the booth across from her, the worn leather creaking under me, and wrap my hands around a chipped mug. Steam curls up, bitter and dark, matching the knot in my stomach. She's out of place here, her blonde waves catching the dim light, but her eyes are steady, unyielding. You're probably wondering why I asked you here, she says, leaning forward, her voice dropping low. The hum of the jukebox in the corner barely masks her words. The thought crossed my mind. I sip the coffee, scalding my tongue. Along with why the bride's having secret meetings with her fiancé's ex. She pulls out her phone and slides it across the table, the screen glowing harsh against the scratched wood. What do you know about my family's business? Grayson Industries? Only what everyone knows. Real estate, corporate acquisitions. I shrug, but her gaze sharpens. That's the glossy version. This is the reality. She taps the screen, and I look down. Documents scroll past. Photos of bulldozed community centers, eviction notices, yellowed at the edges, spreadsheets with numbers that don't add up. My stomach turns with each swipe. Properties bought for pennies, resold at obscene profits. Environmental violations buried under forged permits. Then a familiar address, the shelter on 5th. That homeless shelter where we met, she says, her voice cracking just once. My father bought it 6 months later. Now it's luxury condos. Her perfectly manicured nails tap the china, a restless rhythm. How did you... I start, but she cuts me off. I volunteered there 3 years ago before my family. Before things changed. She trails off, then grabs my wrist, her grip surprisingly strong. I need your help, Elowen. Because you're the only one who might understand. Understand what? My pulse races under her fingers. What it's like to watch Lucas and his friends destroy lives while calling it business. Her grip tightens. This wedding's just another merger. My family's influence, his family's connections. I thought I could fix it from the inside, but I can't. Not alone. The bell above the door chimes, and we both flinch. Mia walks in, her apron still dusted with flour, stopping short when she sees us. Alawen? Her confusion hangs heavy. Just a meeting about the wedding cake, I say quickly, forcing a smile. Right? Abigail nods, releasing me. Right. Mia lingers, unconvinced, then heads out with a muttered, "See you at the bakery." Once she's gone, Abigail relaxes slightly. Can we trust her? With sugar flowers, absolutely. With this? I gesture to her phone. I don't know yet. But what are you proposing? I have more evidence. Proof of everything. But I need someone they won't suspect. She smiles, grim and fierce. Someone they've already underestimated. Expose them during the wedding, when everyone who matters is there. My coffee's gone cold. You're talking about taking down your own family. They stopped being family when they started destroying others for profit. She pulls out a USB drive, small and black, and sets it on the table. Everything's here. Take it. Look through it. If you're in, text this number. She slips me a burner phone, then stands, sunglasses sliding on. We have 2 weeks to stop their biggest deal yet. Night cloaks my apartment above the bakery, the glow of my laptop casting shadows across scattered papers and empty wine glasses. Mia sits cross-legged on the floor, poring over the USB drive Abigail gave me. Spreadsheets of manipulated deals, photos of families displaced. Holy hell, she whispers, shoving a printout my way. They bought the community center for nothing after spreading fake drug rumors they paid people to start. Diabolical, I mutter, grabbing another sheet. The evidence piles up, each page heavier than the last. My burner phone buzzes. Abigail. Tomorrow, dress fitting, back entrance of boutique at 2. Bring a cake sample, make it look routine. I type back a quick yes, my fingers steady, despite the adrenaline humming through me. The bell downstairs chimes, sharp in the silence, and we freeze. We're closed, I call, shoving papers under a cushion. Footsteps climb the stairs, and Harper's voice floats up. It's me, and you better have a good explanation for ghosting your phone. She steps in, pizza box in hand, her "you're in trouble" face firmly on. Her eyes sweep the room, papers peeking out, Mia's guilty flush, 2 phones on the table. Okay, what are you two up to? Close the door, I say, and we spill it all. Abigail's plan, the corruption, the wedding day reveal. Harper paces as we talk, her boots thudding on the hardwood. So, you're helping the bride expose her family's crimes at her own wedding, which you're catering? That's the plan. I meet her gaze, unflinching. Girl, this isn't just karma. This is Ocean's 11 stuff. She stops, hands on hips. Risky as hell. Risky, Mia cuts in, her voice rising. These people ruined communities, Elowen. What if they come after you? The bakery? They won't, I say, more confidently than I feel. Because we're going to be smart. I grab a fresh sheet of paper. Mia, your sugar flowers. We hollow out the centers, hide the USBs inside. No one'll suspect decorations. She pauses, then snatches a pencil. Actually, that could work. Those big roses we planned? Perfect. Harper, I turn to her. You're a paralegal. Know any reporters who'd jump on this? 3 off the top of my head who'd kill for this scoop. She pulls out her phone, already typing. But we've got to be careful how we approach them. My regular phone rings. Lucas. Harper nods. Speaker. His voice fills the room, clipped and cold. Elowen, we need to talk cake design. Some elements seem inappropriate for this caliber of event. The design Abigail approved yesterday? I keep my tone neutral. The one Lauren loved? Things have changed. I'm sending new specs. His arrogance seeps through every word. Changes go through the planner, I say, reciting policy. Everything's documented, you understand. A pause. Right, of course. He hangs up and Mia's eyes widen. He knows something's up. No, Harper corrects. He suspects. But his ego won't let him believe you're a threat. The burner buzzes again. Abigail. Be careful tomorrow. Olivia's suspicious. I screenshot an earlier threat. Watch your back, Baker girl, and send it to Harper and Mia. Game on, I text Abigail back. The sugar flower sketch gleams under the lamp. We're in deep now. 3 days before the wedding, I'm in the bakery kitchen with Mia, the air thick with sugar and tension. We're assembling hollow sugar flowers, delicate petals masking their secret cores, when the door slams open. Olivia Grayson stalks in, her manicured nails trailing along the counter like claws. "Well, well," she says, her voice smooth as venom. "Quite the operation you've got here." Mia's hands tremble, a rose petal cracking under her grip. I step forward, blocking Olivia's view. "This is a restricted area. Health code regulations." "Oh, please." She pulls out her phone, flashing a photo. Me and Abigail at the coffee shop, grainy but unmistakable. "Want to explain this?" Discussing cake details with the bride. My voice stays even, though my pulse spikes. It's literally my job. In some dive across town, she swipes to another shot, Abigail passing me the USB drive. "Try again." Before I can answer, the door swings open again. Abigail strides in, wedding dress trailing behind her from the final fitting, her face pale but resolute. "Olivia, what are you doing here?" "Protecting our family." Olivia turns, her heels clicking sharp. "Did you think I would notice?" Secret meetings, mysterious calls. "Get out," Abigail says, her tone ice cold. Mia nods, gathering her tools and slipping out fast. Olivia steps closer, unfazed. "You're about to marry into power, Abigail. I won't let you ruin it over misplaced guilt about a few necessary business decisions." "Necessary?" Abigail laughs, bitter and raw. "Was it necessary to bribe inspectors to close that daycare? Forge asbestos reports for the senior home?" A sugar flower shatters on the floor, Mia's absence leaving silence in its wake. "You should leave," I tell Olivia quietly, pulling out my phone. "Unless you want me to show these." Screenshots of her threatening texts glow on the screen. Anonymous numbers, but traceable. She snatches the phone, but I've backed it all up. "One health code violation," she hisses, "and I'll—" "And what?" Abigail steps between us, fierce now. "Prove exactly what we're exposing? How our family crushes anyone in the way?" The door creaks, Lucas peering in. "Everything okay?" I heard shouting. "Fine," Olivia says smoothly, composure snapping back. "Just a flower placement disagreement." Lucas eyes the unassembled cake. "That's not even started. Could you give us a minute?" Abigail touches his arm. "Sister stuff." He leaves, reluctant. Olivia turns to me, voice low. "You've got 24 hours to back out. After that—" "Or what?" I step closer. "You'll do to me what you did to everyone else who crossed you. Go ahead. Some things are worth losing everything for." She storms out, the door slamming. Abigail sags against the counter. "She'll tell them everything." "No," I say, texting Harper. "She won't. That'd mean admitting she's guilty too." The Grayson Estate ballroom stretches before me on the wedding morning, its marble floor gleaming under chandeliers that drip light like melted sugar. My hands are steady now, assembling the 6-tier masterpiece, white chocolate glistening, raspberry peeking through, sugar flowers cascading down in fragile perfection. Each bloom hides a USB drive, a digital bombshell waiting to detonate. The air hums with the scent of frosting and anticipation, staff buzzing around me as I adjust the final tier. "Everything looks perfect," Lauren gushes, circling the cake, her clipboard clutched tight. "The flowers are exquisite." She pauses, glancing toward the stairs. Small delay upstairs. Family drama, apparently. My stomach clenches. Has Olivia cracked? Before I can dwell, Mia slips in at my elbow, a box of backup flowers in her arms. "Everything okay?" she whispers, her eyes darting to the chaos beyond the doors. I open my mouth to answer, but shouting erupts from the hallway, sharp and jagged. Abigail bursts in, still in her wedding robe, hair loose and wild, with Olivia right behind her. "You can't do this!" Olivia grabs her sister's arm, nails digging in. "Think about what you're throwing away. Let go of me." Abigail's voice is steel, cutting through the noise. She turns to Lauren, calm despite the storm in her eyes. Could you give us a moment? Lauren hesitates, then scurries out, Mia squeezing my hand before following. The room shrinks to just us, the cake a silent witness. The reporters are already here, Olivia hisses, mascara smudging as she spots cars pulling up outside. What did you do? Nothing yet. Abigail steps to the cake, pretending to inspect it, her fingers brushing a sugar flower. But in about 3 hours, I'll tell Lucas everything. No, you won't. I move forward, voice firm. Because we've got proof of your involvement too. Every bribe, every forged document, every dirty deal. The ballroom doors swing open again, and Ethan struts in, champagne in hand despite the early hour. Ladies, beautiful cake, almost makes up for... He stops, sensing the electric tension. Everything okay? Fine, Olivia snaps, smoothing her dress. Just last-minute details. Really? Ethan smirks, but the doors burst open once more. Lucas storms in, face dark, waving his phone. What the hell is this? On the screen, an email, one of our documents, glares back. Illegal evictions, forged permits. Someone sent this to every guest. My heart stops, but Abigail steps between us. It was me. The silence that follows is deafening, heavy as the cake's tears. What? Ethan laughs, nervous now. Come on, Abigail, this is just some bitter ex trying to... To what? I cut in, stepping closer. Expose how your families built their fortunes, how many lives you destroyed. You don't understand business, Lucas sneers, his cologne sharp as he looms over me. No, you don't understand humanity. Abigail pulls out her phone, her thumb hovering over the screen. And in about 10 seconds, neither will anyone else. She presses send, and phones start buzzing throughout the estate, the evidence flooding out. Olivia lunges for her sister's phone, and I move without thinking, stepping between them. Her momentum slams us into the cake table. For one horrible moment, everything tilts. The crash echoes, 6 tears scattering across the marble, sugar flowers splintering. No! Olivia screams, diving for the wreckage. Wow, where are they? Looking for these? Mia's voice rings out. She stands in the doorway, holding up the USB drives, reporters and photographers shoving past her, cameras flashing. It's over, Abigail says quietly, brushing cake from her robe. The evidence is out there. Lucas grabs my arm, his grip bruising. You planned this, all of it. Let go of her. Harper's voice slices through, steady and cold. She's with a police detective, badge glinting. Unless you want assault added to the charges. He releases me, stepping back. Charges? This is ridiculous. Your lawyers will have their hands full, the detective interrupts, holding up a warrant. We've been building this case for months. Your wedding just gave us the final pieces. Weeks later, the autumn breeze carries the scent of fresh paint as I unlock Sweet Endings. The sign above now reads, Sweet Endings and Beginnings, my partnership with Abigail official today. Inside, Mia arranges pastries in the display case, her hands deft as she stacks croissants. Still can't believe we're doing this, she says, grinning up at me. The bakery expansion, or turning the old Grayson building into a community center? Both. I lean against the counter, the wood cool under my palms. Though watching Ethan's face during sentencing was pretty unbelievable, too. The bell chimes, and Abigail walks in, coffee and newspapers tucked under her arm. We made the front page again, she says, spreading the paper out. The headline blares, Former Society Darling opens community center in seized family property. Harper follows, legal briefcase in hand. The Grayson Turner case keeps giving. Every investigation uncovers more. Your father's lawyer still fighting the asset seizure, I ask, glancing at Abigail. Trying, she says, pulling building plans from Harper's case. But it's hard to argue with proof. The shelter reopens next week. Job training, child care, all of it. The bell chimes again. Lauren, of all people. Please tell me you're still catering events. I've got 3 clients begging for the bakery that took down the Graysons. We're expanding that too, I say, sharing a look with Abigail. Maybe with less drama this time. Speak for yourself. Mia points out the window. Lucas approaches, stopping at the mailbox. We tense, but Harper smiles. Court order. He can't come within 100 feet. He drops an envelope and walks off. Harper retrieves it, a check for the ruined cake. Little late, Mia snorts. Donate it to the center, I say, turning back to the plans. We've got real work to do. Evening settles over the bakery, the lights dimming as we gather in the kitchen for our end-of-day coffee. The air smells of espresso and lingering sugar, a comfort after the chaos. Remember when you thought you were just catering a wedding? Harper teases, her mug clinking against mine. Remember when you thought small-town life was beneath you? I shoot back at Abigail, who's traded designer suits for a flour-dusted apron. She raises her cup, smiling. Best mistake I never made. She pulls out a small box, revealing a sugar flour, Mia's handiwork, perfectly crafted. Thought we'd keep one, a reminder. Of how to crash a wedding spectacularly, I laugh, the sound light in my chest. Of how the sweetest revenge is living well and doing good. We lock up, the sunset glowing on our new sign. I'm not just a baker anymore. I'm at peace. 2 weeks earlier, I'm hunched over my desk at the law firm, the clock ticking past midnight. The office is a tomb, dim lights, stale coffee, and the hum of a printer somewhere down the hall. Papers spill across my desk, a messy fortress of contracts and deeds, but my mind's elsewhere, replaying James's vague excuses about late nights at the office. I should have seen it then, the cracks in his stories, but love blinds you, even when you're paid to spot lies. The door creaks open, and my colleague Sarah hesitates in the frame, her face tight with something she doesn't want to say. Victoria, she starts, voice low. I think there's something you should see. She steps forward, sliding a single sheet across my desk, and the world tilts. It's a property transfer document, crisp and official, James to Lauren Hayes, our dream house, $1, dated 3 days ago. The numbers blur, my pulse hammering in my ears, and for a moment, I can't breathe. The floor drops out, leaving me suspended in a void of shock and rage. Sarah lingers, awkward, muttering, I found it in the county records. I'm so sorry. I nod, barely hearing her, and she slips out, leaving me alone with the betrayal, staring up at me in black ink. I sit there, frozen, the paper trembling in my hands. 3 days ago, James was kissing me goodbye, promising to handle the final construction invoices. 3 days ago, I was still his wife, not this discarded thing he'd traded for a girl half my age. The house flashes in my mind, those wooden beams we'd picked out together, the porch we'd sketched on napkins over wine, and now it's hers, Lauren's, for $1. Shock coils into something darker, heavier, but I don't crumble. I'm a lawyer, damn it. I fight with paper and ink, and if James thinks he can bury me in my own field, he's about to learn how wrong he is. I shove the chair back, the scrape loud in the silence, and grab my keys. The drive home is a blur, city lights smearing past like tears I won't let fall. Our apartment's dark when I get there, James still at work, and I head straight for the kitchen. He'd left a stack of construction files on the counter weeks ago, insisting he'd sort them later. I'd trusted him, let him handle it all while I billed hours at the firm. Now, that trust is a knife in my gut, and I'm done bleeding. I tear into the papers, receipts, and permits scattering across the table, my hands steady despite the storm inside me. 48 hours later, I'm still at it, fueled by coffee and fury, the apartment a war zone of documents. My eyes burn, but I don't stop. Not when I find the deed, buried under a pile of lumber invoices, and not when I spot the clause that changes everything. It's a standard restriction in our county for custom builds. If the property's sold below market value within 5 years, it triggers an automatic review by the assessor's office. I read it again, slower, the words sinking in. Our house, appraised at $2.8 million, sold for $1. The county will reassess it at current market value, and the difference, nearly the full amount, becomes a tax bill payable by the seller. James. A grim smile tugs at my lips, the first real feeling since Sarah's bombshell. He thought he'd outsmarted me, slipped this past me in my own game, but he forgot who I am. I'm Victoria Williams, the woman who's closed million-dollar deals, who's caught finer print than this, in contracts thicker than his ego. The tax bill will be astronomical, hundreds of thousands, maybe $1 million, and it'll land square on him, not Lauren, because he's the one who signed the transfer. He didn't just betray me, he got sloppy. And that's his mistake. I lean back, the chair creaking under me, and stare at the ceiling. The clause isn't just a penalty, it's a weapon, one he handed me without even knowing. He'd insisted on managing the build, putting everything in his name to keep it simple, and I'd agreed. Too busy, too trusting. Now, that arrogance is a noose around his neck, and I'm the one holding the rope. My phone sits silent on the table, no texts from him, no excuses yet. He doesn't know I know, doesn't know I've found the crack in his perfect little plan. I pull the deed closer, tracing the lines with my finger, the paper cool against my skin. It's all there, recorded, binding, and inescapable. James wanted to play this game, to take everything we'd built and toss it to Lauren like a cheap trinket. Fine. Let him play. But I'm not the wife he leaves behind anymore. I'm the attorney who knows every rule, every loophole, and I'm just getting started. He forgot who I am, and that's going to cost him more than he can imagine. Back in the present, my office feels like a command center, the desk littered with papers and coffee cups, the glow of my laptop casting shadows on the walls. It's midday, March 19th, 2025, and James's smugness is about to crack wide open. The county assessor's website blinks with a new notice, a review triggered by his $1 sale, just as I'd planned. My phone buzzes on the desk, his name flashing across the screen in frantic texts. What did you do? I let it buzz, unanswered, and lean back in my chair, savoring the shift. He's not the only one who can play games, and I'm better at this one. I'd spent the morning filing papers, an emergency injunction to freeze his accounts, a claim for division of marital assets, all built on the evidence I'd unearthed. The deed restriction was just the start. Last night, digging deeper, I'd found bank statements in those construction files, buried under blueprints, like he thought I'd never look. He'd been siphoning money from our joint account for months, trickling it into a separate one in his name, preparing his exit. Every transfer, every penny spent on that house, ties back to our marital assets. In this state, that's my half, deed or no deed, and he's about to learn that the hard way. The phone buzzes again, a string of messages piling up. Answer me, Vic. What fine print? I smirk, a dry little twist of my lips, and set it aside. Let him stew. I pull up the assessor's notice again, the details crisp on the screen. $2.8 million market value, $1 sale price, reassessment pending. The tax bill will hit him like a freight train, and I've got front row seats. But it's not just the house. Those bank statements show he moved $3.2 million over the past year, every transaction documented, sloppy as a rookie's first contract. He thought he could hide it, thought I'd stay the trusting wife while he built his new life with Lauren. He was wrong. I'm still savoring that thought when my assistant knocks, poking her head in. James is here, she says, voice tight. He's in the lobby, pacing like a caged animal. I nod, straightening my jacket. Send him up. She disappears, and I take a breath, steadying myself. This isn't the confrontation I'd planned. Not yet. But I'm ready. The elevator dings, and there he is, storming in, his face flushed, eyes wild. The smugness is gone, replaced by a desperation that almost makes me pity him. Almost. The tax bill's $980,000, he snaps, slamming a hand on my desk, papers fluttering. You have to fix this, Vic. Release the restriction, please. I'll lose everything. He's close enough that I can smell his cologne, the same one I'd bought him last Christmas. And it twists something in my chest. But I don't flinch, don't soften. I lean back, crossing my arms, and meet his gaze with a calm he doesn't deserve. You lost everything the moment you gave our house to her, I say, voice low, cutting. This is just the consequence, James. You made the choice. I didn't. His jaw tightens, and he steps back, running a hand through his hair, pacing now like he can outrun the mess he's made. I'll contest it, he threatens, spinning to face me. I'll say I didn't know about the clause. His voice cracks, a desperate edge creeping in, and I can't help it. A short, sharp laugh escapes me, dry as dust. Go ahead, I reply, tilting my head. Tell that to a judge. Explain selling a $2.8 million house for $1 without reading the deed. Good luck with that. His face pales, the reality sinking in, and I press on, relentless. You're a businessman, James. Everyone will expect you to have read what you signed. But please, try it. I'd love to see how that goes over. He stares at me, mouth working, no words coming out. The silence stretches, thick and heavy, until he finally mutters, You're enjoying this, aren't you? There's a flicker of the old James in his eyes, the one who'd charmed me 12 years ago, but it's gone fast, drowned in his panic. Not as much as you enjoyed screwing me over, I say, standing now, matching his height. You wanted to play this game? Well, here we are. I nod toward the door. You should go. I've got work to do. He hesitates, then grabs his bag and storms out, the door banging shut behind him. I sink back into my chair, adrenaline buzzing under my skin, and check my phone. 5 more texts, each one more frantic than the last. I drive home that evening, the city fading into dusk, lights flickering on like stars I can't wish on anymore. The apartment's quiet when I step inside, a sanctuary I'd insisted on keeping despite James's push to sell. Now I'm glad I held firm. Some instinct, some whisper of doubt had kept me tethered here. I drop my bag, pour a glass of water, and sit at the kitchen table, the bank statement spread out before me like a map of his betrayal. Every line is a step he took away from me, every dollar a brick in the wall he built with Lauren. My phone buzzes again, James. The bank's threatening to freeze my accounts. What did you do? I set it face down, ignoring the ping of another message. The injunctions already in motion, the judge's signature fresh from this morning. He'll find out soon enough, when the funds he thought he'd hidden stop moving. I trace a finger over the statements, the numbers cold and final. He underestimated me, thought I'd roll over while he handed our life to someone else. But I'm not that woman. Not anymore. The counter-strike's begun, and James doesn't even know how deep he's in yet. The next morning, I'm back in my office, sunlight streaming through the blinds, casting stripes across the chaos of papers on my desk. The adrenaline from yesterday's clash with James still hums in my veins, but I'm focused, calm, a general mid-battle. The county assessor's review is locked in, the injunction's holding his accounts, and my claim for marital assets is filed. Everything's moving like clockwork. I'm sipping coffee, black and bitter, when my phone rings, an unknown number flashing on the screen. I hesitate, then answer, expecting another of James's pleas. Instead, a shaky voice spills out, young and frayed. Miss Williams? It's Lauren. Lauren Hayes. I need to talk to you about the house. I set the mug down, the warmth seeping into my palm, and lean back in my chair. Lauren, his Lauren, the girl he'd traded me for, sounds like she's unraveling, not the triumphant mistress I'd pictured. You mean your house, I say, keeping my tone even, professional, the lawyer in me taking over. The one you bought for $1. There's a pause, a soft hitch in her breathing, and I can almost see her, wide-eyed and out of her depth, clutching the phone like a lifeline. "I didn't know," she says quickly, words tumbling over each other. "About the tax thing. James never told me. I can't afford it. The property taxes, the bank won't give me a loan." Her voice cracks, and I feel an unexpected tug. Not pity exactly, but something close. She's collateral damage, not the mastermind, caught in the wreckage of James's plan. I let her words settle, picturing the house, our house, looming over her, a prize-turned prison. "Because you have no equity in it," I finish for her, matter of fact. "Since you only paid $1." She doesn't respond, but I hear her breathing, fast and shallow, and I know she's nodding on the other end, piecing it together, too late. I glance at the assessor's notice on my screen, the tax bill's shadow growing larger by the day. "Sell it," I say finally, firm but not unkind. "That's your best option. Pay the taxes, take what's left, and run. James's anger isn't your problem anymore." There's a long silence, then she speaks, softer now, hesitant. "He said he put it in my name so you couldn't take it back." The confession hangs there, raw and unguarded, and I feel a flicker of triumph, sharp and cold. So that was his game, not just to give her the house, but to shield it from me, to lock me out of what we'd built. I almost laugh, the irony too rich, but I hold it back, keeping my voice steady. "I don't want it," I tell her, leaning forward now, elbows on the desk. "I want what's fair, Lauren, and right now you're caught in the middle of something that's about to get very messy. Sell the house, pay the taxes, and move on with your life." I pause, letting that sink in, then add, "Get out now, while you still can." It's advice, yes, but also a warning. She's a pawn in his scheme, and pawns don't last long when the board shifts. She's quiet again, and I wonder if she's crying, if she's regretting the affair, or just the fallout. "Please," she says at last, her voice breaking. "I don't know what to do. David says his accounts are frozen, and I don't have that kind of money, I'm cheating." The desperation in her tone mirrors James's from yesterday, and I see it now. They're both sinking, flailing in the trap he set. I think of her, 25, barely older than my niece, tangled up with a man who didn't care what happened to her as long as he won. "Then sell," I repeat, firmer this time, cutting through her panic. "The property taxes are due in 30 days. If you list it now, you can use the proceeds to cover them and walk away with something. James used you as a shield, Lauren, and it backfired. Don't let him drag you down with him." I hear her breath catch, a small sound, and then a murmured, "Okay," fragile but resolute. She hangs up, the line going dead, and I sit there, staring at the phone, the weight of the call settling over me. I turn back to my laptop, pulling up the county records. The deed transfer to Lauren's name is official, recorded, her responsibility now. She's in over her head, but she's not my enemy. James is, and every move she makes pulls his plan apart a little more. I smile, a tight, controlled thing, and sip my coffee again. The house was his gambit, his way to hurt me. But I'm dismantling it, piece by piece, and even Lauren sees the trap he laid. The board's shifting, and I'm the one moving the pieces now. A week later, the legal avalanche crashes down, and I'm at the eye of the storm, watching it bury James inch by inch. My office is a fortress of files, the air thick with the scent of ink and victory as I review the latest court filings. His attorney, a slick, expensive type named Grayson, tried to argue the deed restriction was unconscionable, some desperate Hail Mary to dodge the tax bill. The judge didn't blink, shutting it down with a single line. "It's standard in this county, and he signed it." I picture James in that courtroom, his jaw tight, his confidence crumbling, and I feel a surge of triumph, steady and sure, like a heartbeat I'd forgotten I had. The assessor's review finalized yesterday, the official tax bill landing at $980,000, due immediately. It's a number that would have gutted me once, back when we meant something, but now it's his alone, a noose he tied himself. I'd known it was coming, planned for it since that night in the apartment, but seeing it in black and white on the county website still sends a shiver down my spine. Not fear, not anymore, just the thrill of watching him fall. My phone's been buzzing nonstop, his texts piling up like debris. "You've destroyed everything I built." I don't reply. He did this to himself, and I'm done carrying his weight. Lauren's call comes that afternoon, her voice steadier now, less broken. "I'm selling the house," she says, no preamble, no tears. "I have a buyer, market value $2.9 million. I just wanted you to know." I lean back in my chair, the leather creaking under me, and nod to myself, the pieces clicking into place. She took my advice, cut her losses, and I can't help but respect it. A flicker of something like admiration for the girl who'd stumbled into this mess. "That's a smart decision," I tell her, keeping it simple, professional. "James is furious," she continues, a bitter laugh threading through her words. "He says I'm betraying him, that I owe him loyalty after everything he did for me." She pauses, then adds, "As if putting me in this position was doing me a favor." I hear the shift in her, the dawning clarity, and it mirrors my own from weeks ago. She's not just escaping, she's waking up, seeing him for what he is. I feel an unexpected pang, not for him, but for her, caught in his web until it snapped. "You don't owe him anything," I say, my tone firm, cutting through her doubt. "He used you to try to hurt me, Lauren, and he didn't care what happened to you in the process. Take the money and go." She murmurs a quiet, "Thanks," and hangs up, leaving me with the hum of the office and the weight of her words. The house sells 2 weeks later, the proceeds covering the property taxes, with enough left for her to vanish. Rumor has it, back to her hometown in Colorado. Good for her. James, though, is sinking fast. The tax bill wipes out his liquid assets, forcing him to scramble, but the divorce proceedings hit harder. Daniel Carter, my forensic accountant, walks into my office that evening, a thick folder under his arm, his grin sharp as a blade. "He's terrible at this," he says, spreading documents across my desk, bank statements, transfer records, investment accounts. "Moved $3.2 million over months, all through your joint account, thinking it'd muddy the trail. Instead, it's a neon sign." I scan the numbers, each one a breadcrumb of his betrayal, and my chest tightens. Not with pain now, but power. "Premeditated fraud," Daniel adds, gathering the papers. "Most of it's after he started with Lauren, makes our case airtight." I thank him, walking him out. And when I return, my phone lights up again. James. "I never thought you'd fight back like this." I leave it unanswered, the words glowing in the dim light. He's right. He didn't think, didn't see me coming, and that's why he's losing everything. The judge grants my asset division claim the next day, every hidden dollar dragged into the open, his reputation in the business community, once untouchable, now a punchline. I'm at my apartment that night, the city sprawling beyond the window, lights flickering like a promise I'm finally claiming. The settlement papers sit on the table, a fair split of what he tried to steal, and I pour a glass of wine, the red catching the glow of the lamp. My phone buzzes once more. James. "The bank's seizing what's left." "You've ruined me." I sip the wine, letting the silence stretch, and set the phone aside. Ruined? No, he built this collapse brick by brick. Lauren, the house, the money, and I just pulled the right thread. The weeks blur into court dates and signatures, his attorney flailing against the paper trail he left. Grayson tries one last angle, claiming James was coerced, but the judge sees through it, the evidence too clear, too damning. By the end, James is a shadow of the man I married, his charm replaced by desperation, his wealth gutted. I stand in my kitchen, the settlement finalized, and feel the sting of betrayal fading, not gone, but smaller, a scar I can live with. He underestimated me, thought I'd break, but I didn't. I fought, and I won. 6 months later, I sit in my new office, the corner suite I earned as partner at the firm, the city sprawling beyond the floor-to-ceiling windows. The skyline glitters in the evening light, a mosaic of steel and glass that feels like a fresh start, not a battlefield anymore. The settlement's finalized, half of everything James tried to hide, split down the middle by a judge who saw through his lies. It's more than money, it's justice, hard-won and mine. The dream house is gone, sold to a family with kids who'll fill it with laughter, not ghosts, and I'm glad for that. A quiet relief settling over me like dusk. My desk is neat now, no more chaos of files, just a stack of case briefs and a glass of wine, the red, catching the glow of my desk lamp. I sip it slowly, savoring the stillness, the way the hurt lingers but doesn't bite as deep. The betrayal still echoes sometimes, James's smirk, Lauren's shaky voice, but it's distant, a memory I've outgrown. I'm stronger than he ever knew, forged in the fire of his mistakes, and that strength is my foundation now, not his shadow. The phone buzzes on the desk, a text from my sister Emily. Saw James at a restaurant yesterday. He looked terrible, hollow. You okay? I smile, a small steady thing, and type back, better than okay. I'm free. It's true. Free from the weight of his choices, free from the need to prove anything to anyone. He'd spent years seeing me as the trusting wife, the one who let him handle the details, and he'd forgotten who I really was. I'm Victoria Williams, the attorney who knows property law like a second language, who turned his careless fine print into a weapon. He thought I'd fold, but I stood taller, and that's what he'll never understand. The wine warms my throat as I lean back, the chair creaking softly, and I look out at the city lights, each one a step away from the life I'd planned with him. The settlement papers are filed, the accounts divided, and his reputation's in tatters, a businessman who gambled everything and lost. I heard he's selling what's left, scrambling to pay the tax bill, but it's not my concern anymore. My world's here, in this office, in the cases I win, in the peace I've carved out from the wreckage. I set the glass down, the clink sharp in the quiet, and let the past settle. The dream house was his last play, his final betrayal, but it showed me my own resilience, a strength I didn't know I had until I needed it. My phone stays silent now, no more frantic texts, and I breathe easier, the air clean and mine. James underestimated me, his biggest mistake, and I'm free because of it. Free to build something new, something better, on my terms.